Good morning to my Peachcrest family. It's Dr. Nellums, your principal, and I'm here with Mrs. Dunlap. Good morning, Ms. Dunlap.
Good morning, Dr. Nellums.
Well, guys, I said the next time that I saw you, I would be reading you a story. So I decided that the holiday season was the perfect time for me to read you one of my favorite books, The Polar Express. The Polar Express is written by Chris Van Allsburg, and you may know him too for one of his more famous books that was turned into a movie, Jumanji. He is also the author of the book Jumanji. This is, like I said, one of my favorite stories, and it's perfect for the holiday season. As you know, Friday will be the last day of the first semester.
Wow.
And we will have a 2-week break. And the time actually seems to just fly by. Hopefully you guys have a restful break. You do something fun and safe. And hopefully we will see you in the new year. But before we get started, I've got my hot chocolate, I've got my book, and we're gonna begin. The Polar Express. On Christmas Eve, many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. I did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound a friend had told me I'd never hear. The ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. There is no Santa, my friend had insisted, but I knew he was wrong. Late that night, I did hear sounds, though not of ringing bells. From outside came the sound of hissing steam and squeaking metal. I looked through my window and I saw a train standing. It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell lightly around it. A conductor stood at the open door of one of the cars. He took a large pocket watch from his vest, then looked up at my window. I put on my slippers and robe, tiptoed downstairs and out the door. "All aboard!" the conductor cried out. I ran up to him. "Well," he said, "are you coming?" "Where?" I asked. "Why, to the North Pole, of course," was his answer. "This is the Polar Express." I took his outstretched hand and he pulled me aboard. Look at that train. Wow.
Amazing.
The train was filled with other children, all in their pajamas and nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols and ate candies with nougat centers as white as snow. We drank hot cocoa as thick and rich as melted chocolate bars. Outside, the lights of towns and villages flickered in the distance as the Polar Express raced forward. Wow, they had chefs and children and hot chocolate, candy.
Just like the hot chocolate we're drinking.
Oh boy, you're right, Miss Dunlap.
We're playing train ride.
Soon, there were no more lights to be seen. We traveled through cold, dark forests where lean wolves roamed and white-tailed rabbits hid from our train as it thundered through the quiet wilderness. Wolves. I don't know about you, Miss Dunlap, but I would have been petrified.
Most definitely. I don't want to see anything bigger than my wonderful small puppy Fendi, but definitely not a wolf.
Exactly. We climbed the mountain so high, it seemed as if we would scrape the moon. But the Polar Express never slowed down. Faster and faster we ran along, rolling over peaks and through valleys like a car on a roller coaster. There it is, high in the mountaintops, moving fast like a roller coaster.
Wow, you would definitely have to be brave to be on that mountaintop, Dr. Nellums, riding Like a roller coaster through the mountains?
Oh my goodness.
Ooh. Let's see what happens next. The mountains turned into hills, the hills to snow-covered plains. We crossed a barren desert of ice, the great polar ice cap. Lights appeared in the distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean liner sailing on a frozen sea. There, said the conductor, is the North Pole. Wow, they are truly having a journey. The North Pole, it was a huge city standing alone at the top of the world, filled with the factories where every Christmas toy was made. At first, we saw no elves. They are gathering at the center of the city, the conductor told us. This is where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas. Who receives the first gift, we all asked. The conductor answered, he will choose one of you. Wow, to be chosen, to be given a special gift, that is awesome. Look, shouted one of the children, the elves. Outside, we saw hundreds of elves as our train drew closer to the center of the North Pole. We slowed to a curl. So crowded were the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no further, we stopped and the conductor led us outside. I wonder what is going to happen. We pressed to the crowd to the edge of a large open circle. In front of us stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were excited. They pranced and paced and ringing the sleigh bells that hung from their harnesses. And you know, harness is what holds them where when they're being, where when you're riding, it keeps them from going in every different direction. It was a magical sound like nothing I ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart and Santa Claus appeared. The elves cheered wildly, yay! He marched over to us and pointed to me. Let's have this fellow here. He jumped in his sleigh. The conductor handed me up. I sat on Santa's knee and he asked, now, what would you like for Christmas? Wow, magical words. Magical words. I knew that I could have any gift I could imagine, but the thing I wanted most for Christmas was not inside of Santa's giant bag. What I wanted more than anything was one silver bell from Santa's sleigh. Then he gave me a hug and told an elf to cut a bell from a reindeer's harness. The elf tossed it up to Santa. He stood holding up the bell high above him and called out, the first gift of Christmas, the first gift of Christmas. Wow.
All right, Peachcrest Wildcats, it is Mr. G's time. So I think at this point, you all should have heard about the trip to the North Pole. I'm gonna keep these up here. The trip to the North Pole, about how the little boy was questioning his beliefs and whether to believe or not. And then you heard about this wonderful trip. And once they got there, all the exciting things you learned about that Santa Claus does on the North Pole. Now, the portion that I have to cover is what happens next. And so, after he received the first, I think it was the first gift of Christmas, they were all back on board the Express. As soon as we were back inside the Polar Express, the other children asked to see the bell. I reached into my pocket, but the only thing I felt was a hole. I had lost the silver bell from Santa Claus's sleigh. Let's hurry outside and look for it, one of the kids said. But as soon as they said that, chuck, chuck, the train started moving. We're on our way home. So the little boy was sad. With all his friends, he lost the first gift of Christmas and the gift that he got from Santa Claus. It broke my heart to lose the bell when the train reached my house. I sadly left the other children. I stood in my doorway, waved goodbye. The conductor said something to me as the train was moving, and I said, "What?" It was snow, the wind was blowing, blizzard outside, and he cupped his hands around his mouth. This is a cup. He cupped his hand around his mouth and he said, "Merry Christmas!" Because it was so loud. He shouted. The Polar Express let out a loud blast from the whistle and sped away. The little boy heard "Merry Christmas" and just waved as the conductor and the train left. Still a little sad about his bell. I think I would have been sad too if I lost a gift from Santa Claus. On Christmas morning, my little sister Sarah and I opened our presents. When it looked as if everything had been unwrapped, Sarah found one last small box behind the tree. That little old bitty box was the last one. What was in that box, I wonder? There was a bell. The bell that Santa had given him. He found it. And there was a note. "I found this on the seat. You better fix that hole in your pocket." And it was signed Mr. C. Who is Mr. C? I think it's Claus. I shook the bell. It made the most beautiful sound my sister and I had ever heard. But when I shook it again, my mother said, "Oh, that's too bad." And then my daddy said, "It's broken." It turned out that the only people that could hear the bell were true believers. And at one time, most of my friends could hear the bell because I would take it outside and rattle it for them around Christmas time. And then the older we got, fewer and fewer people could hear the bell. But though I've grown old, the bell still rings for me as it does for all of those who truly believe. Peachcrest, I was glad I was able to take part in reading this story to you. I want each and every one of you, young and old, to have a great Christmas. I'm looking forward to seeing you after this year is over. When we get back from the pandemic, we're going to show the community what Peachcrest Wildcats are all about, and that is teaching and learning. Have a great Christmas, everybody. Have a wonderful new year. Signing off, Mr. Gaddis.
There is the North Pole.
He knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good to be good. Goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out. Better not cry. Better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town.
okay. Okay. I believe. I believe. I believe.
What was that you said?
I believe.
Well, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed our story. If you have a chance over the holiday break, The Polar Express is also a movie. And it is one of the things that I will be doing over this break. I absolutely love The Polar Express, the movie. Very, very entertaining. So if you have a chance, please watch the movie. In addition, I want to wish you happy holidays. Make sure that you do something fun for yourself, for my teachers as well. You all deserve it. You guys have worked extremely hard this first semester, and I'm so, so very proud of you. And hopefully I will see you sometime second semester. Enjoy your holidays. Ms. Dunlap?
You know, I cannot believe that the year, even virtually, has just gone by so quickly, Dr. Nellums. It just seems like we were literally in this room talking about last year, what a great year that we would have, to start things off. And then, of course, boys and girls, we had some different experiences this year, but that does not mean we've not had an absolutely over-the-top, can't-be stopped start of the year here at Peachcrest Elementary. Because boys and girls, you know what? Wildcats, we are the best. We settle for nothing but the best. And I know going into 2021 is going to be even more fantastic. So I'm wishing you and your family a wonderful and safe holiday break. Do something fun, creative. This is the time to think of all of those great ideas. Boys and girls, I did see something on the news where a student, maybe 7 or 8 years old, she just signed a book contract and became like this illustrator. So, and students are out having their own shows and different things. So I want you to know that this is the time for you. I always say this, you don't have to be an adult to make a difference. This is the time to think of all your great ideas, put them on paper, write your first book, illustrate your first articles or magazines, do whatever it is, dream big. And to all of our teachers, thank you so much for each and every day going over the top, being there for our students, supporting all of our families. I wish you a warm, time off, holiday break to rejuvenate and recharge as we get ready for bigger and better, because boys and girls, we know that Peachcrest Elementary, we are the Wildcats and we cannot be stopped. I love you and I can't wait to see you soon. Have a wonderful holiday vacation.